Good evening, everybody. It's nice to meet you again on live in Facebook. This live is dedicated to my one and only cricketers who are very close to my heart. So it has always been pleasure to be connected with you all, especially the cricketers and as well as the parents. My intention has always been to help each and everyone to uh, help yourselves to ensure that you find success in your cricketing career. Of course, yes, everyone has their own way of looking at success. I always believe that everyone who goes through a process works hard with untiring effort and concentration. I'm sure they will definitely scale up to the maximum level what they are intending to do so. So I always request each and every cricketer to be self-confident and as well as hard-working. Okay, why at all this live again? This live I wanted to ensure that everyone understands the importance of basics. As you are aware that the shorter version of the game has taken over the contemporary cricket. It is not wrong, definitely it is not wrong, but you need to equip yourself to meet the challenge. Over a period of time, my observations over batting, bowling, wicket keeping, and other stuff, I have come out with certain critically, analyzed factor. I have taken data. I have taken some sample cases, and I have done quite a bit of analysis. It's not like just mere talking about what needs to be done. I have done some kind of a data capturing, coming out with kind of a pattern for batsmen and for the bowlers, and come out with a graphical representation to show that where exactly you stand. My graphical representation was quite disturbing to tell the cricketers that they are not in line with what they have to be. As they keep growing up the ladder, the one point, the really one point which is required for any sportsman, leave alone cricket, whatever the game you're going to be in, the real factor which is most important, which is really missing among many of the youngsters, is consistency. What do you mean by consistency? What do I mean by consistency? Consistency in terms of your batting, your bowling, your approach. Okay, where exactly all these mistakes originate? It originates from the practice session. It originates from the place where you start playing your cricket. For that, I will give you some of my thoughts, carefully formed out thoughts. I would always request each and everyone to have a coach or someone who can guide you through the process. Because once you start playing, you will not know where exactly you stand. You need a coach with who has knowledge, who has interest, who has commitment. I'm sure that each and every coach will definitely have, because today, being a very technology driven world, nobody can keep themselves below par of what is expected out of it, because children have started to ask questions, the parents have started to ask questions. They come out with a lot of data, they come out with examples, they come out with proof of video of whatever they wanted to know. So I'm sure that each and every coach will definitely equip himself, to deal with the cricketer as well as deal with the parents. A coach is very important. So I suggest every cricketer to have a good coach, where first thing is you make a connect with him. Ask the coach what you want. Ask the coach to guide you the way you wanted to. And talk to him about your problems. Tell him where you find it difficult to overcome a particular issue. I'm sure every coach will definitely help you to go through this process. So, in this live program, I want to slightly, be away from a normal talk. Okay, now being a lockdown situation where we can't go to the ground, we can't go to any indoor place where we can execute our thought process, whether it is bowling or batting or anything else. Okay, I thought this is the time. This is the time where I would like to share certain things to all the youngsters and also to the parents who understand about cricket and who have played cricket. This live session will definitely be helpful for you to understand the basics, whatever format you're going to play. Whatever format you're going to play, whether it is T20, 30, 40, 50, 2-day, 5-day game, the basics are very important. All the international cricketers who have been very successful and consistent in their life have their basics very strong, and they have worked out hard on the basics in their formative stages. Okay, I will slightly dwell about how you need to go about your practice and your training session in the formative stages, and I'm going to come out with a 8 slide PowerPoint presentation. Here I'm just sharing my screens with you because FB doesn't have live of talking to you and as well as screening together. So, shall we get into what it is all about? So I'm going to talk about some basics, and I had put up a question to all of you, and I wanted to ask you what is that we need to focus on batting, and most of them have given their suggestions for stance, because that's where it is going to start for any kind of a batsman. So I thought stance would be the best point where I can start my presentation. Okay, in stance there are lots and lots of factors involved in it. I can't get into in depth of all the nitty gritty of the points. Probably I will take a particular aspect and then talk about it in detail, and rest we will talk it about later. Probably even you can contact me personally. So shall we get into the presentation, please? Yeah. Okay, so there is going to be a bit of a swapping from one screen to another. So you need to cope up with me. And there started to be lots of messages. I don't want to concentrate at this point of time. I want to get into my presentation, and after that I would like to have one-on-one discussion with all you guys. So let's get into the presentation now. Yeah. Okay, this is where my presentation is going to start. We are going to talk about cricket basics, the need of the hour. As I told you earlier, this is what is the need of the hour for any kind of youngsters, because I feel there is lots and lots of issues with respect to basics with the batsman. So I thought this is a best possible time for me to talk to you all guys, because as I told you, we are all at home, not going out. So I thought to give some food for our thought process. So the need of the hour is cricket basics, and it's me. Introduction. Why coaching is very important? This I have told in my earlier speech that once you have a coach, you will know the direction in which you need to go, and you will know where exactly you stand, and you will also be able to develop a process where there will be a lot of analysis, where there will be developing a plan according to your requirement, and then implementation process, and then the cycle keeps going on and on and on. So you will be able to take you will be able to evaluate yourself. A coach is a guy who can see you from outside your circle, from your perspective. He can always think about in a better aspect than what you would always try to think about yourself during the match and during the practice session. So I would definitely suggest any aspiring cricketer to have a coach. That is always advisable. Okay. Impact of a shorter version of the game. As I told you earlier, the basics, the first impact is on the basics. I have taken some statistics from Cricinfo, ESPN.com, and StatsGuru and all the stuff. After 2008 of introduction of T20, the most number of shots being played is your pull and your hook shots. And the percentage of shots being played on the leg side is approximately between 50 to 56 percentage, and most number of dismissal is by playing your pull shot. So invariably the bowlers have started bowling short deliveries. They are not up to the batsman, or short of length, or just short of length, or on the good length. So they have also started to bowl faster and faster to enable the batsman play the hook shot and the pull shot. So the pull shot has taken the center stage. So these are all the shorter. These are all the impact of shorter version of the game. Okay. Formative stages. As I told you, formative stages is very, very, very important. That is where you're going to make up your life. My observation. This is my kind of an observation. I have seen most of the youngsters, most of the youngsters playing on concrete wickets. I'm saying from the age of 6 or 7, whenever they are getting into an academy, they started to play on concrete wicket. My dear parents, my dear boys, I will tell you something. Concrete wicket is a place where you enhance your batting skills. That is not the place where you will learn to play your cricket. You don't learn your basics there. There are several points where I can talk about this. The first and foremost point is when you are young, when a boy comes and joins in an academy, and if he is exposed to on concrete wicket, and before that, a boy who joins an academy, he's been asked to wear pad, abdomen guard, thigh pad, arm pad, helmet, and then he wears his gloves, and then takes his bat in his hand. If you could see, the pressure on the physical body is more, and the boy is not even able to sight the ball. You need to make the child more happy when he comes to the academy to start his cricket. He needs to be like a child. Let's not put pressure on him and ask him to wear all kinds of gears and then go stand like that, not standing on the wicket like a robo. Apart from that, what happens when he plays on a concrete wicket, especially with the hard ball? Most of the boys are exposed to the hard ball right from the day one they get into the cricket academy. So what happens when they play the ball? If the bowler, if the person who is throwing is throwing a little bit harder towards the young boy, when he plays, there is an impact created at connecting the ball. So the impact gets into the joints of the young boy who is playing it. The impact might be more than the threshold where his body can withstand. So what happens if the impact is taking more and more and more than what the body can withstand over a period of time? I'm sure he will land up in injury issues. So let's not expose the child to a on a very hard wicket. So there is an excess impact on joint, and also not only that, he started to play the ball with a wrong judgment, because on a concrete wicket, when you throw the ball, the bounce is even. So what happens? He started to play the ball on an even bounce, in the process developing a wrong muscle memory. If the muscle memory is developed wrongly, it's gonna be a very difficult for him over a period of time, or as he gets into a higher level of cricket. So these are all my observations, which I have done for almost 2 years after I come back to cricket, and this I can prove with certain kind of data, which I don't want to show it to all of you, because that will get into the controversy aspect, but which my intention is not so. My intention has always been to give the right input and show the right direction for every cricketer. Is very confident guy, and I want every cricketer to be self-reliant. So let's go to the next aspect of the game. Okay, what are the problems of the youngsters? Consistency, which I have spoken. So if you're not consistent enough, whether you're a batsman or a bowler, then it is going to be a very difficult task for you to be there in the team or go up the ladder. Any aspiring sportsman should be consistent enough to give the confidence to the captain, team management, and the selectors that yes, this boy is very consistent and this guy needs to be given chances, and they can depend on the consistent performer. That's what any team or any captain requires, expected of a player in his team. So you need to be consistent enough. Adaptability. So this is also a very important aspect. This comes, as I told you earlier, when you start playing on an even wicket. Then when you go to a different kind of wicket, like you go to a different turf wicket, or you go play on a matting wicket, then you will find it very difficult to adapt, because you are exposed to a consistent and even bounce. Any slight misbehavior of the wicket, then you are caught. So this is one of the problem which I have analyzed looking at the youngsters. Rush of blood. Yes. This is very disturbing factor which I have come across. Rush of blood. What do you mean by rush of blood? Being a batsman, I have always felt when I play a brilliant shot, whether it is a front foot straight drive or a cover drive or a hook or a pull or a glance of a good bowler, the next moment I will always feel, yeah, I'm on the top of the world. So what happens in the process? You lose the sight, or you lose the calmness of your mind to analyze what kind of line and length the next ball is going to be. So you carried away by the rush of the blood, and then you start to play a wrong shot, and then you get out. So the rush of blood is very important. That even pertains to bowler also. If a batsman start hitting, the bowler should try to bowl a different kind of delivery, rather than if he's a fast bowler, he tries to hit the batsman with his pace, which is as good as feeding him. So controlling the rush of blood is very important for any kind of a batsman at any level. That's where at the international level, if you could see, if a batsman plays a short boundary or a sixer, invariably, I'm saying invariably, the next ball, either it will be a defense or push for one or two, unless otherwise the ball is pitched on the slot, and again it requires the same kind of treatment where he would have executed the earlier ball. So that is where the top class cricketer differ from a normal cricketer? So you need to work on that on your practice session. Again, getting out through pattern of dismissal. Every time when you go out to the match, there will be, if you could analyze your last 5 matches dismissal or the 10 matches dismissal, definitely that will give you a kind of a pattern, whether you might be getting out a leg before wicket, or you might be getting out in slip, or you might be getting out playing a cover drive or on drive, or you might be getting out to a left arm fast bowler or a spinner or a leg spinner. Some kind of a pattern you will come through it. If you could do a data collection of what you have done. That's why I said your analysis, the process is very, very important. So once you know the pattern, I'm sure that you will have a plan to overcome it, to be successful in the matches. That's why I said you need to have a coach where he will monitor you in going through all this process. So I have seen youngsters getting out the same way, but still they don't find any methodology to overcome this kind of a issue. Partner sync. Oh, this is very, very important. I have seen most of the batsmen getting run out because the non-striker partner, yours and the batsman do not sync between themselves. Once a new batsman comes, or whether you go opening with the partner, talk to the partner, tell the partner, have some kind of understanding. That is very important. Suppose you're finding it difficult to play a particular, you are finding it difficult to play a left arm spinner. You tell your partner, come on, buddy, I will just push one and go to the other end. You please handle this left arm spinner because I'm finding it difficult to play that bowler. And if he's able to, your partner is able to handle it easily, and if he has a problem, then you can take care of that problem. So the partner sync is very, very important. This is a point where I have seen that this is not being talked about in the practice session at all. But we at our academy, we do that. I always tell during the practice session, normally there will be 2 players playing against 4 bowlers in the net. So after every 4 balls, when they cross, they need to talk to each other. Or when the runs have been allowed to take in the practice session within the nets, then you need to call yes, no, or wait. So the understanding should be as good as possible to have a very good partnership, because partnership decides whether the team is going to win or not. All these things we are talking with respect to the batsman. Okay. I would say that this is the irony of what I have observed all these 2 years. There is absolutely a mismatch between the practice and the match process. I have seen that many batsmen, I would say that 90% of the batsmen, once they get into the net, you can see the sound is deafening. Every single ball is belted, whether it's a fast bowler, medium fast bowler, spinner, slow bowler. Every single ball is hit in the middle of the bat. And all the bats are highly expensive and highly quality. And you can see the ball piercing through the nets. And the batsman is so happy. That's not the way you practice. I keep telling this to each and every cricketer who comes across me. And I will keep telling this statement even if I am going to be in this world for 250 or 300 years. The statement is, practice is a place where you learn to deliver in the match. I repeat, practice is the place where you learn to deliver in the match. Get your basics in line. Understand that every time you get into the practice nets, that you are getting into the match ground. If you're an opening batsman, and bowlers are bowling new ball. Watch the ball. Leave the ball to the wicket keeper. Start middling the ball. And then start picking up the gaps. And then start driving. It doesn't mean that you can't hit the ball hard in the practice session. Suppose you're going to play 20 minutes or 30 minutes in the nets. Have a plan for that. First 5 minutes or first 10 minutes, I'm going to watch the bowler. And next 10 minutes, I'm going to look for my gaps playing ones, twos, threes, and fours. And last 5 minutes, or the penultimate 5 minutes, I'm going to hit wherever the bowler is going to bowl at me and ensure that I hit the ball perfectly. And the last 5 minutes, again, you cool down yourself and then get into your groove of mixture of all the approaches, whatever you have planned in the earlier minutes. And most importantly, during this entire process of 20 minutes or 30 minutes, there are two things I want you youngsters to keep it in mind. You should never get out in your practice session. Never. Never, ever, ever, never. And you need to go to such a level that you don't even get beaten. If you're going to do this practice, I'm sure you will be a most successful batsman and more importantly, consistent batsman. That's what it all boils down to. Every practice session, every single minute you're going to spend on the wicket, it's going to be where it needs to be very productive. If it is not productive, mind you, my dear youngster, you are not in line with what you wanted to become. So take the match practice session seriously and go enjoy in the match. And always I tell you, always think and play. Don't play and think. There's a huge difference between these two things. Suppose you go play a match or practice session, you play a shot and then you think, oh, I shouldn't have played this kind of a shot. And then you come sit outside and keep lamenting on that. Rather, think and then play. So, my dear youngsters, there are small things which you need to take account into, so that you improve your thought process, and more importantly is the application of mind. Application of mind is very important. If you keep doing all this finer aspects of your approach, which is called the process, I'm sure you will be able to apply yourself much better than what you have been or what other successful batsmen or cricketers are. So have confidence in yourself. Believe in the process. That's what I said, application of mind according to the format. So once you get into all this nitty-gritty of this process, and I'm sure that you will start falling in line with the kind of requirement the team wanted you to be. If it is a shorter version of the game, you will play. You will start playing the way the team wanted. If it is a longer version of the game, you will start spending more time. And there are lots and lots of n number of aspects which we can discuss about. I'm here to give you an outline about what exactly is required and what I feel during my observation process, that these are the things where most of the youngsters don't apply their mind to. My dear cricketers, whatever level you are playing, whether you're playing your school cricket or league cricket or division, your Ranji Trophy or whatever it is, this process is the same to each and every one. I will tell you, many of the international batsmen, if they are not in form or if they get out, they go back to the practice session, they go back to the net session. They're focused. They start getting back into the basics. I mean this. They get back into the basics. I have seen Sachin Tendulkar, Rahul Dravid in Chepauk in Chennai, before the practice session or before the match and during the practice session, they always spend time middling the ball, finding the gaps, because this is very very important, and it is going to enlighten your thinking process from today onwards, that they always try to give the best what they can do, because they have developed correct muscle memory during their formative stages. So it is only application of the mind. All the top class cricketers who are very successful and consistent is just because of only one reason, is they are able to apply their mind according to the format of the game and according to the requirement of the game. Just imagine the way Rohit Sharma has been successful in the previous World Cup. A batsman getting 500s in one tournament, mind boggling. How was that possible? Application of the mind. Everybody was saying that he was getting out to a moving delivery. It happened. It did happen in the earlier the England series. He was getting out to a moving delivery. But look at him, how he got back into his stride, how he managed to get that weakness into converting into the strength, and he got 500s in England, the same place, the same conditions where he was treated as a failure. And end of the World Cup, he was a hero. He was just the best batsman of the tournament. So that's where the difference between the top class players and the youngsters who are willing to come up the ladder. Huge difference. Whatever the points, the consistency. The top class players go back to their nets, get their basics in its place, and then go out and play the match the way it has to be. So, my dear youngsters, all these finer aspects of the game are very, very important. That's the reason why I wanted to come live and tell you these are the ways, this is the process, or this is the way where you guys need to look into it. I'm sure this PowerPoint presentation will make you think about it. Anyway, this is going to be there on my page and you can refer it any moment. And what I have observed, one more problem is the youngsters are not playing practice matches. There are less practice matches being played. Practice matches are very important, and during the practice matches you need to be very serious. You can't take it lightly. You need to be as good as playing in the match. So more practice matches is much much better. But now I see there are no practice matches being played by the youngsters. Okay. To manage to success on any wickets, learn the basics the right way. Let me get into the core aspect of the entire live session. This is going to be the most important aspect of my entire PowerPoint presentation. Stance. As I told you, this is the starting point of any batsman. There are a lot of things which we can talk about the stance. I will just go through the points, and then I will pick up one particular aspect, and then we will go on from there. Body balance. Stance is nothing but body balance. What do you mean by body balance? Body balance is very, very important for you to trigger the moment. Whether you're going to make a triggering movement in the forward direction or side directions or back foot across, all these things depend upon the way your body is balanced. I will come out with a kind of a pictorial description after I discuss about all these things, so that you will understand much better. So, what is the first aspect of body balance? The first aspect of body balance is grip. And then comes your back lift. Then your shoulder positioning. Then your head positioning. Then your knees angle. So all these are the factors which pertains to body balance. The stance, I have converted the stance into three departments. The first one is the body balance. In body balance, these are the bullet points which are very, very important for you to look into it in a logical manner. So, in this five logical steps, I'm going to pick up one particular step, the grip, and then I'm going to show it physically how to go about it. Probably in a nutshell manner, because we can't keep on discussing about technical aspect too much, because it takes hell a lot of time. And then the trigger moments. And then comes the second department is transfer of weight, direction of the feet, side on front positioning, toes positioning, and then bat swing. This is the third department. Half full swing, whether your bat is going to be half swing or full swing, and then whether you're going to make a punch. So let us pick up the grip as the discussion point, and then let me show it now. Yeah. Okay. So I'm just going to show you about how basically you can hold the grip. One of my friend, Ashok Anand, very rightly said, whatever sword you have, the effective way of using that sword is how you hold the sword. Very rightly he said. So I thought that point I could dwell with you guys with whatever I have observed and whatever I have learned in my life. So this is the bat which I used to play in my young days, and I have scored quite a lot runs in this bat. I think it must be around 20. It must be 25 years old, and this is SG bat, and you can't see this kind of small thickness, and nowadays the thickness is huge, and you can see the width of the bat. In fact, my students in the net, academy, Krishu's academy, they were all making fun, it looks like a toy bat. Okay, that's okay. So what is most important in a grip? The most important aspect of holding the bat is your grip. I will just tell you a small aspect which is very, very important. You need to hold the bat as comfortable as possible with the bottom hand firmly and the top hand firmly, and a little bit of distance between the top hand and the bottom hand. Mind you, I'm just talking about the overall aspect of the grip, because I can't talk in full detail, because I can with the kind of timing I have, I need to talk about only the outer part of it. Anything else we can discuss in person. Okay. So one aspect which I wanted to tell you, I think many of the youngsters are not aware of it, is you need to create a cavity in your grip. What do you mean by cavity? Just look at my hand. The more the more closer you bring your hand towards the neck of the bat, what happens? Your hand is in full tension. Look at my wrist. Look at my hand here. I have seen most of the batsmen holding the bat here. And what happens if you hold the bat here? You can see my web is extended here. So what happens if you have an extended web? It will be difficult for you to turn the bat the way you wanted to. Suppose you wanted to play a shot, you wanted to run down the ball, or you wanted to play a hook or a pull. It will be very difficult for you to change the position of the bat because the web is tight here. So what you need to do is slightly take, just keep looking at this point here. Here, my web is very tightened enough. So in the process, I'm not able to turn the bat the way I wanted. But what happens as I take my hand little bit higher? Here, a cavity is created. A cavity is created. Earlier, it was the entire web was closer to this level and it was tight. But what happened? Again, I will show it to you. Look here. The the bottom you take your hand, the tighter it becomes. The upper you take the hand, the better your grip looks like. So what happens here? There is a cavity created here. This cavity is very important. This cavity is very important. Once you create that cavity, what happens is you can soften the bat. You can twist the bat the way you want it. Your bottom hand becomes your guiding hand. Your top hand becomes your dominant hand. And there are some shots where your bottom hand will be your dominating hand. Your top hand might be assisting hand. It might not be a guiding hand. It might be assisting your bottom hand. So what happens once you create this cavity and you can see the pressure is less on your hand. Once the pressure is less, you will be able to focus on the bowler. You understand what I'm trying to tell you? So the cavity is very important. The only player, to the extent of my knowledge, the only player who can thrash the bowlers with the bottommost hand with this kind of web is Sachin Tendulkar. Only God knows how he does it. You can't be like Sachin Tendulkar. He is the only batsman. If you can go through his YouTube videos and see, you will find his bottom hand will be to almost to the neck of the batsman. Bat. In spite of this extended web, the kind of shots is going to he plays. You know, I don't need to talk about Sachin Tendulkar's batting class. And I'm going to show you one picture of Sachin Tendulkar later in my presentation. So your cavity is very important. This is a small aspect of the grip. There are lots of things how you need to pick up your bat. What should be your back lift? Whether it should be high or low or the lowest, and what should be your stance. Many people say that there are different kinds of theory about the gap between both the legs. There are a lot of theories, but the basic theory always goes that the gap between both the legs should be to the width of your shoulder. That is your inner side of your shoulder. What happens if the gap is perfectly placed according to your shoulder? The balance is even. The balance is even. So once the balance is even, so you will be able to make your trigger movement in the front foot or side or back foot across. So holding your bat is going to be a very important aspect of your batting. There are a lot of factors which I can talk about the grip. So the basic factor, what I have felt, but this is the particular aspect most of the cricketers are not aware. So the cavity is very important. What happens if the web is extended? The web is extended. The tightness is created. Once the tightness is created, you are going to hold your bat very tight, and you're going to find it difficult to maneuver your bat the way the angle in which you want it to. So once you slightly bring it up, so you create a cavity. Once the cavity is created, then the changing the angle of the bat will be easy for you to adjust yourself according to the bounce of the wicket or the line and length in which he's going to bowl, if there is sudden bounce, you can always soften your grip. Suppose you're going to have a tight grip, then it's going to be difficult for you to soften your grip. You understand? See, every single basic step what you're going to take is going to help you to navigate the bowler in the matches, whatever level the bowler might be. You're going, if your basics are strong, I'm sure that you're going to be very, very successful, and more importantly, you're going to be a very consistent batsman. So that's one aspect of the area where I wanted to talk to you guys. And there are a lot of things probably that we will discuss when we meet in person. And also, you can also look at my website www.playsimplecricket.com. I'm going to come out with YouTube videos and other stuff, and there are blogs also where I will start writing, because there are not much happening on the ground because of the lockdown. So I'm not able to give you any kind of information on my blog. So once we start playing, then I might come out with lots of interesting points where you will not be thinking on those lines. That's why I said you need to have a coach for that. One minute. Okay, so let me start my okay. As I told you, I will show you a pictorial representation of what a perfect stance, a balanced stance is all about. Here you can see an outline of a perfectly balanced stance. This is in the side angle. Here you can see how the head position is done, and how the forwarding shoulder is positioned, and how the bat position is done. All these things, just to give you an idea about what exactly a balanced stance is all about. This is in the side angle, so in this angle you will not be able to see your knees getting bent slightly, and then your feet placed balanced condition. This will give you an idea about what body balance is all about. I think you have seen seesaw in the park where the children play themselves. This is what I meant about body balance. So what happens if both the legs, both the arrows, this is what I am talking about. If this leg and this leg are placed evenly, then you get your body balance. Once you get the body balance, then you can do whatever you want. So for a good batsman, the body balance is very, very important. I'm just showing this pictorial representation just to show what happens if this seesaw is balanced perfectly on this kind of a edge. It is perfect. That's the way these two will help you maneuver the bowlers. So if you have a proper body balance, then entire other moments of your approach towards the ball will definitely be in a very, very positive and easy manner. Look at this. The next one, as I told you, the transfer of weight, which I told you, I'm going to talk about to all you guys. Look at this shot of Sachin Tendulkar. See the way his body is aligned to, see his head position, see his bat, and see his elbow. And more importantly, most of the youngsters, I have seen that, their back foot, their back foot is almost stationed on the ground. My dear youngsters, please understand, if you get your back foot on the toe while you play your front foot, that's the time when the entire body is transferred onto your front foot. Once the weight is transferred onto your front foot, look at the way he is positioning. Look at his head positioning, and look at his hand, and look at the bat. Perfect, everything perfect. And this is most important aspect which you need to work on it. Whenever you play your front foot, the back foot should always be on the toes as much as possible, because that is going to help you to transfer the weight onto your front foot perfectly. Then comes our present hero, Rohit Sharma. Look at the way. Here you can see Sachin Tendulkar playing in front of the wicket, straight drive almost like. And here you can see the way he is playing his cover drive. See the positioning of his body, beautifully balanced. And look at his firm front foot. That's what I'm saying. Once you are able to transfer the weight onto your front foot becomes firm. And this is the place where most of the youngsters are not getting their right basics. That is because your foot here, back foot here is not on your toe. Here it is almost on the toe. So that is the reason why Rohit Sharma is able to transfer his weight into the front foot. And look at the way his hands are, and look at the head positioning. And then comes the little master. Look at the way he is positioning himself. And this is a short arm pull which I think he has played. And can you see the way he's transferred the weight? Can you see the way he has transferred the weight and see the positioning? And again, look at the head positioning. That's why I tell you, my dear, lovely young cricketers, that your basics are very, very important. If your basics are in place, I'm sure you can definitely face any kind of a batsman, any kind of a bowler, You can face any kind of a bowler on any wicket. Let me run through again all these three photographs. The Sachin Tendulkar playing is straight drive, and see the way his body balance and the transfer of weight is taking place. And here Rohit Sharma, here he plays his cover drive slightly away from, probably the ball might not have pitched as close as the way the ball has pitched here. Probably it might be slightly outside the off stump, where his swing of the bat, as I told you earlier, and I will keep telling this, Rohit Sharma is the master of the swing of his bat. He knows how to swing his bat according to the requirement, according to the field placement. The same ball, he can play two different shots. Here you can see how he is positioned. Looking at the shot and looking at the ball where it is positioned, I think he has played the ball slightly away from his pad, slightly wider from the off stump, and perfectly balanced. See, look at his bat swing and the flow, and see the head stillness, and look at all of their faces. This still head can be achieved when these two departments, body balance and transfer of weight, is taken care of. What happens when there is a body balance? When the stance is well placed, your head becomes still, and you are able to see the ball till the last moment of the ball hitting the bat. So the basics are very important, come what may. Henceforth, I want all the youngsters, whatever kind of level you guys are playing, you might be even playing Ranji Trophy, you might be playing First Division, get into the basics, get back to your basics, and then become a much better cricketer, and that will lead you to be consistent in your life. A perfect example. Okay, I have spoken about some international cricketers. We have seen all these cricketers. Some of us have seen them live in playing, playing in stadiums or far away from the place where you are. But I wanted to give an example, a living example, a person who has played cricket for almost 36, 37 years in his career, and he is a local person who has dedicated his life for his cricket, and I have been associated with this gentleman, and now I think he must be 61 or 62 of years, and he has his basics intact. Because when I was young, like 15, 16 years, I used to play against this great local cricketer, and I have learned a lot of things from this cricketer. And the picture what I'm going to show you is a picture where he played his last game in his career last year. I think in 2018. I think it is 2018. Yes, in 2018 he played his last game in a district match, and see the way he is playing a shot at the age of 60. Can you believe this? Can you believe this? This gentleman, this gentleman is playing the shot at the age of 60. He was about to get retired. He was about to get retired. Probably few months after playing this match, he got retired. I think now he must be 61. See the kind of shot he's playing. Look at his back foot. Oh my God, I love this shot. I love this shot. And here you can see he's playing the shot. He's in the momentum. He's on the go. And look at his foot movement, foot direction. And look at the way the ball he's connecting. And see his head position. And look at his arm. Everything intact. Everything in perfection. Everything in perfection. That is because this gentleman who has played cricket for 36, 37 years of playing competitive cricket has spent more time in basics in his formative stages. Will you believe this? A man who is playing at the age of 60, on the almost on the verge of 60 years, playing such a beautifully crafted dancing down the wicket shot. He is none other than Mr. Sudhakar. He's one of the selectors and chairman of selectors in Tiruvallur districts in Chennai, and he has played for Ashok Leyland for almost more than 2 decades, and he has been a very, very motivating factor for many cricketers. And I have looked up to him in many angles when I was young. A man who never gives up his match till the last wicket is taken, until the last run is taken. He never gives up the match at all. So now do you understand why playing your cricket the right way helps you? So my dear cricketers, get back into your basics. Learn the basics the right way, because only the basics will help you to scale up your ladder of success. If you are not focusing on your basics, I am sure it is going to be very, very difficult to perform at a competitive level, to perform at a very challenging level. Whoever it is, whoever has achieved the greatest the heights in their career, have always been strong in their basics. So let's connect. Let's connect. Okay. So I want to, show you something like this, and then 1 minute. So now you will understand why the basics are very, very important in your life. So I always suggest, to all you cricketers to learn the game the proper way. So I'm sure that my little bit of information on certain finer aspects of the game would have definitely given you lots and lots of ideas about how you need to approach your game. So I will be in touch with all of you like this through FB, or you can always contact me. You have my website address, www.playsimplecricket.com. I'll tell you, playsimplecricket.com, because I always feel, playing cricket the most simplest way will help anybody to be successful, and more importantly, you can be consistent. Okay, let me see let me take some Q&A, do some Q&A, and if anybody wanted some uh, answers, I will try to. No, no, no. Yeah, Ashwin, thank you. Yes, sir. Playsimplecricket.com. Yeah. Yeah, if somebody wants to me answer some questions, I'm ready to take up some questions, probably 4 or 5 questions. Yeah, I'll wait for your questions, because there is a time lag between what I speak and what you guys get into the screen. Is there any questions I can take on, or I can say goodbye? I know, I think I have held all of you for almost an hour. I think it might be useful to all the youngsters. Yeah, Lokandave. Thank you, thank you. You are one of the very promising cricketer. I'm sure that you already have your basics intact. I think it's time you work more on the finer aspects, which will definitely help you to become a better batsman. Sure. Mahaprabhu, how to develop concentrate and watching the ball from the bowler's hand? That's what I said, Mahaprabhu. The most 1 minute. Mahaprabhu, your question. That's what I said. When you get into batting, whether it's a practice match or whether it is a practice or a match, first thing is, you should start looking at the ball. If you're an opening batsman, start leaving the ball to the wicket keeper. As I always tell you, the more you leave the ball to the wicket keeper, the better you will start focusing on the ball. So once you start looking at the ball in a consistent manner, you will start middling the ball. Once you start middling the ball, you will start getting your runs, ones and twos. Concentrate on, again, it all depends upon the format what you're going to play. You can't do this in T20 matches. So I'm just talking about the basic approach. So you need to look at the ball as close as possible and try to middle the ball as much as possible, as early as possible. And then once you start getting your runs, I'm sure you will start, getting your shots. And over a period of time, you will know that you have scored some 15, 20 or 30. From there, you can start building up your innings. So watching the ball as much as possible and leaving the ball to the keeper is most important for any kind of a batsman. Subhajit Saha. While defending against left arm spinner, where should I place the bat? In front of the bat or beside the bat? Good question. Very good question. Uh, Saha, this is again, as I told you, the basics are very, very important. The basics always says that you have to play the ball as close as possible to the bat without gap. This is the normal way you play. But but it all depends upon the surface what you are playing on. That's why I said your grip is very important. If you have a proper grip, if you have a proper control over your bat, then you can play according to the ball behavior. Even if you take the bat in front of your pad, suppose if the ball rises more than the expected or it behaves differently than what you have expected, you can soften the grip so the ball doesn't pop up. So again, I'm saying the grip, the holding of the bat is very, very important. So it all depends upon what kind of a surface you're going to play. Always better to play at the side of the your front foot, because what happens when you play the ball closer to your pad at the side of the front foot, you will be able to see the entire flight pitching of the ball, and then you getting into the ball getting into the pad. If you take your bat in front of your pad, what happens, there is every possibility that you will lose the sight of the ball. You will lose the sight of the ball. If you're a taller guy, say above almost 6 feet, then you can play the ball in front of your pad, because you will be able to go on the top of the ball. Because there was one great cricketer, I think it's V. Sivaramakrishnan, who has got hell a lot of runs in Ranji Trophy. Unfortunately, he did not play for our country. I have seen him playing. He is almost 6+ feet height. He always play the ball in front of his bat. He kills the spinner. He smothers the spin. And whether it is a spinner or a fast bowler, mostly the spinners, he always plays the ball in front of his bat, and the ball doesn't pop out from his bat. That's because he's tall enough and he's able to control his shot. That's a good answer. So I always suggest to play as close as possible to the side of the bat without bat and pad. Thank you. Probably I'll take a couple of questions, and later, if I'm not able to answer all your questions, I will definitely personally send replies to your inbox. Vikrant Parulekar. A lot of coaches nowadays teach having steady spread base and play all shots rather than starting from shoulder with stance and taking different. No, I didn't understand your question. A lot of coaches nowadays teach having a steady spread base and play all shots rather than starting from shoulder with stance. See, this is the result of the shorter version of the game. Go back to your match performances, last 5 matches or 10 matches, whatever you have played at whatever level you have played. Take an analysis, take a data of how much you have scored and number of balls you have played, how many singles you have got, how many scoring shots you have played, against which bowler, under which conditions, and the nature of dismissal. Nature of dismissal. The point what you have said is that it is whacking right from the word go. It's possible. It's possible, but only for a few people, only for few cricketers who are natural enough, like Chris Gayle, Rohit Sharma for that matter, a guy who is perfect in his uh, basics, and also he can he can play, he can uh, take the role of any kind of a batsman, whether you want uh, 150 strike rate or 100 strike rate. He can do the way he wanted because his basics are very strong. So I would prefer you to look into your basics and then take an analysis of whatever you have played earlier, and then that data will definitely give you how to approach it. Suppose if there is a pattern of dismissal where you find it, you get out in a particular style, then I think you have to slightly change your style of batting. One more question, sir. While defending where the ball should touch my bat. Okay, Subhajit, I will definitely answer this in your inbox. Let me see if I have missed any other. Thanks, coach. Thanks, Satish. Devanand, coach, what is that? Who is he? Oh, you're talking about that outline picture. It's me. My student has found that. Giridhar sir, playsimplecricket.com without any gaps, sir. Okay, I think it's time for me to wrap up. I don't think there's any other questions. So, whatever is there, you can uh, put your ask questions in your in my on my page in the comment section, or you can send me a message personally. I will definitely try to answer. So let me wrap up. Let me wrap up this live session with again a point where you have to really give importance to it. Youngsters, learn your basics, work hard, have belief in yourself, and have a good connect with the coaches. I'm sure every coach will be happy enough to help you. Suppose you're playing on a different wickets and still you find it difficult to uh, uh, adjust yourself. It's time for you to get back to your nets. But don't keep playing matches time and again if you're not able to sort out the issue. Always ensure that you practice the right way. I tell this again, time and again, to each and every cricketer. Practice is the place where you learn to deliver in the match. If you take your practice session seriously and let your practice session be the most productive session, and if possible, write down whatever you have done at every practice session. That will give you an idea over a period of time. That's why I said capture the data, capture your feelings. That will help you. And once you have a data on your hand, you yourself will go and talk to the coach. You will tell the coach, this is where I have a problem. Please help me out. And I'm sure that he will be more than willing to help you overcome the problem. Again, I'm telling you, all cricketers, your consistency is the key for your success. To be consistent enough, whatever points I have discussed with you all guys are very, very important, the finer aspect. There are lots and lots of things where we can talk about it. That can be done if you are able to connect with me personally. Once the lockdown is lifted, I think I'm available to all you guys. But still, if you want any help, you can always inbox me. You have my number on the website and Facebook. You can call me anytime. I'm there to help you. So to end this second live session, I want to thank each and every one who has been supporting me, and more importantly, my friends who are coaches. You know, normally a coach generally people will say a coach will not appreciate another coach's effort, but fortunately God has given me very good friends who I have played cricket in my earlier days. I'm talking about 90s and late 90s. To name a few, Anand George, Jason Bobo. Jason Bobo, I have not played with him, but I've heard about him, and I've seen him coaching with so much of commitment. Ashok Anand, Devanand, he's a very good wicket keeper and a very humorous guy. And there are a lot of other coaches, who have appreciated my work and appreciated my uh, cricketing sense. And I have also always, tried to learn from them also, because even today, Sunil Gavaskar, in one of the matches in the commentary, he says, even today I learn from this game. A man who has shown this world what cricket is all about, technically sound, and he's a craftsman. A man with so much of experience, so much of knowledge. He himself says that still he learns, and why not all of us? So, my dear cricketers, I want you to believe in your credentials, believe the process, believe your coach, believe your academy, your school, your state team, your corporate team, your first division team, wherever you are playing. Believe in them, give them your life, and I'm sure you will be successful, and more importantly, you have the blessings of your parents. And note to parents, please believe your children. They require your love, your affection, your support, especially when they are down. And most important thing is, never compare your son to another cricketer. Every cricketer is unique. Every child is unique. Love your children and have faith in him. I'm sure he one day he will definitely make all of us proud. So with this note, I thank all my FB fans who have been very supportive and showering their love on me, love and affection on me, and I want to reciprocate it with my folded hands. Thank you. I love you all. Bye bye.